All right.
I would have did my hair different had I thought about it. No. Okay.
All right. I'm recording.
Okay.
So our first one, we want to talk about Class Dojo. I have pros and cons about Class Dojo. It was useful for a little bit last year when I had it up on the board and the kids could see their little avatars that they had put in with themselves. And if the class was in study group and I was in the back of the room, I could easily push the button and you'd have this tone, cha-ching, and that would say, okay, there was dojo points added to that. Or have this negative, annoying little down to signal negative behavior. And so it was used both way last year. Kids could earn positive dojo points and negative dojo points depending on the behaviors that you pre-set up. Also, the class as a whole could earn positive dojo points. And once they got up to like 1,000 positive dojo points, there would be a whole class reward, like extra 2 minutes at recess. If they got up to 10,000 points, I know one teacher said they could have an ice cream party in class. So it sort of felt group team effort. It was also a hassle just with having to make sure every time there was a positive behavior, kids wanted dojo points. And every time there was a negative behavior, you had to be consistently taking away those dojo points. So it's just like one more thing that you had to be responsible for in the classroom. And that got difficult after a while. And I only used it for half a year last year. Your thoughts?
I agree. I tried to use Dragon Class Dojo, but one of the things I didn't like about it is because I wasn't able to use my computer. I had to use my cell phone. And so I tried to have it where the kids, as soon as they got a positive, they could come and they can, find their name and then give themselves a positive, and they hear the bing, and then the class, gets excited. But then that became too much because I would have to actually stop whatever we were doing to have the kids come over to find their name on my cell phone. And then, so I stopped doing that. And then at the end of the day, I would just have them, as they're leaving the class, find their name and give themselves a positive point. But then, there's a gaggle of kids, trying to leave, go home. And it just created a lot of chaos because I was unable to use it on my computer. And so for that reason, I didn't really care for it, because it actually created chaos in the classroom rather than, just giving the kids positive points to try to track. And then also, we weren't able to use the negative feature. Our school actually disabled it. And so it was truly only for positive behavior. And I'd rather we have little sheets, they're called way to goes, and they're like little tickets. I'd rather, as class is going on, pass those out, because there's very little distraction. No one has to move. I can just simply put one on a kid's desk and they know that they've received that positive for the day, rather than having to stop and find a name and click and you hear the bing. And I just thought it was more of a distraction than an actual benefit to the kids. And actually for me, because it was it was just too much.
Yeah, it can be too much. And I think most of these data trackers or online behavior management tools are just too much. Like, I am in front of 30 kids and I can't be behind a computer all day putting in positive behavior. No, it is much easier. And we have the same system at our school where we hand out little green cards that show a virtue or responsibility, or, I was a superstar in class today. So those are just so much easier to have that personal connection with a student. I'm giving you this because you showed citizenship and you were picking up trash that wasn't yours. That's much easier than saying, okay, here's a dojo point, where there's no tangible internal to get a dojo point, because they can't touch a dojo point. Right. They can take a little green card home to their parents and say, I got a green card today. And that's the moment that you lose with technology.
Yes, and when you said that, like passing them out, I had thought about that because then they have something actually in their hand that they can actually show for, you know, their good behavior or whatever they did right in the classroom, rather than the dojo, unless it's actually posted on a screen or somewhere that they can actually see it. I mean, after that little bing noise, it's really over. I mean, you know, the kids don't have anything truly that they can look back at or show their parents and say, you know, that's great. And I do know that Dojo has a feature that the parents can log in and see their child's how many points or whatever they have. But with that, then you're getting into, you know, if are there emails being sold off and things like that. And so that, you know, opens another negative door, you know, when it comes to the dojo. So anyway.
So I think we both agree we're probably not going to be using Dojo much these days. And I can't even use it at all this year, so I'm fine with
Yeah.
that. The other stand timer, I use a timer every day in my class, and I used it last year quite a bit for quizzes or quiet work or just transitions, and now I'm using it 3 or 4 times a day. So I like sand timers okay. I also use online stopwatch because they have a radial timer. So it's not just the sand going through, but it's an actual circle. And so I could set it for 5 minutes and it shows colors. So it has yellow, so it's black, and then as it ticks, it gets more and more yellow. So they have a visual, not just the sand, because that can be pretty abstract, but going to different colors with a radial timer is nice. And I'll put it on for quiet independent work. I'll put it on for lessons. Okay, this is Miss Davis's time to teach you instruction, and we're going to be sitting like scholars for this amount of time so I can get through introductions, and then it's going to be group work. And so then I'll either put it on for one or the other, either for my time to teach and their time to listen, or I'll have it on for their time to be in small group work. So it's not just like, okay, we're going to do this really fun project, and then all of a sudden I have to tell you to stop. And I can give verbal warnings, you know, you got 5 more minutes, 2 more minutes, 1 more minute, but there's just some kids that they tune me out anyways. So if I have it up on the board where it's an actual picture of a timer, they'll notice it. Oh my gosh, we only have 2 more minutes left. You know, we got to hurry and complete this. And it's making my transition so much smoother in first grade using a visual timer on the board. It only takes me about 30 seconds to kind of set it up. So there's that pause, which I don't like, but I'm getting faster at knowing how to project it. And also working ahead, okay, I know I'm going to use a timer for this segment, so I'm going to go ahead and get it up on a tab. And then it's easy for me to just click the tab and then it's automatically there. So I like using the timer a lot.
Yes, I would agree. For fourth grade, it works really well too, because one of the problems that I had with my class in time management was whenever I gave an assignment, some kids would take 5 minutes just to take out their pencil because they got their pencil box and they got to choose from a green pencil, a glittery pencil, you know, all these different colored pencils, and they're not sure which one they want to use to do the assignment. And then other ones, you know, they're kind of just looking at around the classroom, you know, smiling at different people. And so our assignments seemed to just go on forever. And so by the time I'm like, okay, look, you know, we can't spend any more time on this assignment. You only have this much time. Then, you know, a student A just figured out what color pencil she wants to use. And so using the timers, I think, has really been beneficial because it gives the students urgency. Oh, I really need to start this right now because I only have so much time. And so once I start the timer, the kids are like, oh, I got to get started. And so it really helps them focus and to see that, you know, this is not an all day assignment. You know, I can't take 5 minutes out to pick out what color pencil that I want to use. You know, I just need to get my pencil. I need to get started. And so it really helps the fourth graders get on task and do what they're supposed to do. And it helps them to stay focused during that time. And I think the sand timer also shows them that there's an end to the assignment. And so once they start it, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is going to be forever. How long is this going to last? And so they actually, you know, they have an actual time that they know, okay, I'm going to work on this for this amount of time, and then the assignment is over and we can move on to something else. So it not only helps them to stay focused, but it gives them a beginning and an end time so that they can see that end time is in sight. So let's say if they don't know, but there's only a minute left and they're tired of writing, or, you know, whatever happens in their little minds, they know, okay, I can do this because there's only 1 more minute left. And so it really is beneficial in helping keep them on task and getting started.
So good. So we're both in agreement about using a sand timer. It's like that video that we also watched in this unit where the guy was teaching a high school special education classroom, and his mentor said, use a timer to help build pressure, like that healthy pressure, where it can keep them on task. So at least you got kids completing assignments. That's
Yes.
hard for first grade to say, if you don't complete this, then you're going to do it during recess. That's like my mantra, and that seems to get them more on task sometimes than the timer does, because they'll just want to like color perfectly
Right.
forever. um, so what else are we going to talk about? Oh, Super Duty data tracker.
Mm-hmm.
That one had so much information in it. With, you can track behavior like eye contact, you can track speech patterns, you can also track academic scores. So I think it'd be too much of a distraction to use that one for all 30 or 32 kids. But if you had small group therapy sessions, maybe that would be better. But I did like how in all-in-one app you could do behavior and academic, because they go side to side. You know, sometimes I have a student and I'm struggling of whether or not to put her on a behavior plan or an academic plan, because she's a yellow tier 2 student. So we just did dibbles testing and she came back almost in the red zone, but quite yellow. Last year in kindergarten, she was yellow, but I think her main issue is she doesn't want to pay attention in class.
Right.
And she's smart, and she's shown me that she can be smart, but all she wants to do in class is play with her hair, play with what's in her desk, no matter if she sits right in front of me. So I am close to her all the time, and I can tap on her desk, I can look at her, telling her to pay attention, and then she goes right back to that inattention mode.
Mm-hmm.
So the advice from my administrators, will put her on first a behavior plan and see if we can use our PBIS, our token system, to get her to pay attention in class. And then that would help with her academics, because if she pays attention, she might learn. Versus if I just put her on an academic plan, it may not just be her academics. Though I do know she has an issue with number sense. So there's something going on there. And I think the app like Super Duper Data Tracker would probably help keep that. But again, I wouldn't just use it just for her, because that again would be a distraction if I have to go back during my prep time and add all that stuff in. And actually, we have in our Jupyter Ed system a data tracker as well. So I actually have to put in, if she got a 13 out of 30 on her spelling test, I'd have to put in what I'm doing for that. And I don't want to do it twice. So I probably wouldn't use something like that anyways.
Right. I agree that the super duty tracker would be better for smaller group settings, because with 30 kids, this is a lot of information to track on all of them. And also, the way our classes move, they're really fast paced. And so in order for me to get all of this information, I would probably have to have like a clipboard or something with me where I'd write it down first. And then at the end of the day, I could input this information, which our school also has a system like if their behavior is a problem, you know, we have things in place that we would actually do for that. And so then I would have to do that and then record it also in the tracker. But I totally agree with you with something that measures the academic as well as the behavior is very beneficial, because many times it is the behavior that is distracting from the academics. And I know I have plenty of students that if they're actually engaged and they're focused, if you ask them questions, they know the answers. If you, give them, a problem, they can solve it, no problem. But if you put them in a situation where they have to act on their own or work on their own, now they're clueless because they're looking around at other people, they're tapping their pencil, or they're doing other things. And so I do think it's important to track behavior, because a lot of times that takes away from the academics. They're not working at their best, or at the point that they could, because they're distracted with the behavior. And then also that also can distract other students as well from learning. And so I do think it's really good, but because this app has so many components, I think whenever you have a lot of kids or you have that fast-paced classroom, that this would be too much to track in the classroom. And so it would actually become a distraction more than anything, because you'd totally be focused on, did I get this behavior? Did I get this? Did I, and it's just too many for a large class.
The teacher's class behavior app, that was the one I think is similar to Class Dojo, where you can record the different behaviors that they're doing and then have data on that. But again, it's on an app, so it's on your iPad or it's on your mobile phone, which isn't always convenient to have. I never get on my phone at school. I think one time it actually went off. I forgot to turn the volume off, and so I had this tune come on, but luckily it was close to me. But I will never get on my mobile phone to do behavior stuff like that anyways in class. And then I read somewhere in the reviews that it only had 2 positive behaviors listed and 5 negative behaviors, which seems counterintuitive to what PBIS and what our school culture is. We want to focus more on the positives versus the negatives. So what do you think? Oh, and I was going to say, if you could mute your mic when I'm talking, because I think I have some feedback on what I'm hearing.
Oh.
But I'm done talking, so I'll mute my mic if you want to go ahead and speak on the teacher's class behavior app.
I didn't even realize we could mute our mics, but yeah, I did hear the feedback. Now I don't. With this app, I think because it does have the negative behaviors, like you can choose talking, passing notes, running, not raising their hands, things like that. And then I saw where teachers are able to do multiple classes. And so I think with things like talking and passing notes, and being able to do multiple classes, it would be better for like a middle school teacher, because that's probably some of the things that they would see, especially with the passing of notes and things like that. And then of course they're teaching one subject to multiple classes. And so I think for middle school or possibly high school teachers, if they wanted an app that they wanted to be able to track these types of things, that this would be a good app for them. But in elementary school or my 4th grade class, I would not want to use this again, because it is distracting and it takes time to do. And so, like I said, I think for me, I would actually have to take notes during the day to go back and input everything at the end of the day. And for behavior, I rather just verbally address it at the time that it's happening, and then to reward kids with what we call positives. I would rather just have something physically to hand to them, to just, put on their desk, no big distraction, put it on their desk. I know, and they know that I'm saying, look, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and, I'm rewarding you for your good behavior. But yeah, I wouldn't use this app in my classroom either.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're on agreeing about classroom timer and old school style positive notes, stickers, and just even a simple email to a parent if there is a behavior issue, but something that they can tangibly hold in their hand, like a way to go ticket or our green virtue cards that they can take home and even track over time for themselves. So anything else you wanted to add? Close out? Did we cover everything?
I think we're good.
All right. Thanks. I hope this works. I'm going to hit stop recording and see if I can download it. Okay. Thanks.